Hi, this is Benandorf. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Victoria 2, Heart of Darkness. We last left off. We had completed a very successful war against 4 different great powers at once, and are now just waiting for infamy to tick down so we can take some more of China. So, before we get started, let's check up on some of these influence targets, which we seem to be making fine progress in. And Shandong should be getting close to the amount of bureaucrats necessary to convert it to a state, which will lower our literacy again, of course, and thus our tech points. But on the other hand, if it increases our industrial score, which I'm sure it will, it's probably worthwhile. So, no further ado, let's get started. Wonder who the lucky one will be that goes bankrupt this time. And apparently nobody's going bankrupt. Interesting. And we can add Sweden back to our sphere. So we're going to do that. Keep them at the top priority, though. And it's looking like we're starting to be able to get enough artillery to actually build up all of these ships. Now that the major wars have ended, it shouldn't be too hard. And that's good, because we really do need to reinforce our navy pretty significantly. Our military power has dropped a lot thanks to taking quite a bit of damage, but dreadnoughts are better than battleships anyways, so it'll be worthwhile. And we have had some Korean nationalists rise in Korea, which should not be any problem. Just going to move these 87,000 troops down and then back up to where they came from, and make these rebels regret ever rising. We're running a little low on cash at the moment. Man, those war indemnities, though. 6,000 a day, or 6,500 a day. Very nice. We have all sorts of things that are currently being produced. So it looks like all of our industry is doing quite well. We don't have any unemployed workers. I'm going to cut subsidies and see if perhaps some of these less valuable factories will shift all of their craftsmen over to one that's more valuable. Although I am going to keep subsidizing a few of the important factories, such as, for instance, artillery and the single state factory, or the single factory states, just so that way I don't have to worry about them disappearing. It only wastes capitalist money to build new ones, so might as well just spend the little bit it'll take to keep them running. Heck, if they make a profit, it won't matter anyways. Looks like the value of artillery has completely plummeted, but that's what happens when a great war goes from from a great war ends, suddenly nobody wants artillery anymore. And that should do it for now, so we've wiped out the 3,000 rebels and the 6,000, both with very minimal casualties. Dang, and our army is just flying across the countryside thanks to these high level of railroads. You gotta love that. We're getting pretty close to finishing up this next tech. Mobilization impact just went down by 20%. Very nice. Our expedition to the South Pole came back without success. We're going to try again. We can afford it and would love to get all that beautiful prestige that will come from succeeding. We're almost... there we go. So it seems all of our ships are now building. And Shumshu now has nitroglycerin, which is a very useful effect, as I've been saying throughout this Let's Play. Behaviorism has now finished as well, which means that we will soon be able to build radios, which should be fairly valuable, and more importantly, mass advertising will increase education efficiency by quite a lot. Towards that goal, social science will take only about 8 months. And oh my, 100% increase to coal and iron production. Oof, that one is very tempting. especially since there aren't that many other of these that are very valuable. Market regulations eventually becomes pretty useful because economic responsibility is decent, and management strategy is okay. I'm actually going to do private money or private bank money bill printing first. Now let's see. We have a lot of inventions still to show up, but this will give us a decent chunk of additional administrative efficiency and a little bit of tax efficiency, which we don't really need. But on the whole, considering it'll take us, 3 months, worthwhile. And infamy is still bleeding off. Once it gets down to about 15, I'm thinking we will declare war on China again, take another state. Though which one is a good question. It's probably going to be Southern Anhui, because it has just a crazy large amount of population. Northern's not bad either. Zhejiang doesn't have very many. Oh wait, no, it's a very large state, but it still doesn't have that much population. Port Arthur's going to stay Chinese forever. It's not worth infamy for 40,000 pops in a one province state. Henan might be worth taking as well. All that tea and iron, especially once we get the new tech that increases iron output. Geez, it'll make our coal just unbelievably high amounts of output. Some of these war indemnities are falling off, so I'm going to raise taxes on everybody. And there's a crisis in Poland, but no one was really interested. I think that was Poland, somewhere in Eastern Europe. Tractor in Kaohsiung, I don't know how to pronounce these Chinese names. Really should stop playing these games places that I can't pronounce the names. But it's such an interesting area. More disloyal natives that need to learn to adapt. And one of these factories is closed down. So let's see. In northern northern Borneo. So I'm going to destroy that factory, let the capitalists replace it. And we have a few unemployed showing up here and there, but on the whole, doing pretty well as far as the economy goes. And getting some capitalists in Suzhou and southern Zahili. Wow, plus 50% morale. That's a huge increase. A little bit of increase to steel production isn't bad either. I'm going to create a couple more generals since we have all of this leadership available. And, oh, not that one, Naval. Let's see if there's any more of these bases that need to be upgraded. I'm pretty sure all the ones on the home islands are full level 5 right now. But I'm also pretty sure that this one here in Wake, needs to keep being upgraded. And in Tonga. And that may be it. Yeah, I'm thinking that's all. Another factory is closed down. This one in southern Zahili. I will close that. Let the capitalists put another factory there, because there are more than enough workers to fill anything they choose to. And there goes the administrative efficiency tech. So what to do next? We could either do management strategy, market regulations wouldn't be bad either. I'm thinking electric furnace may be the one to do, though, just because we have so much coal and a lot of iron, too. And that'll take us a little less than a year, which is okay. And keeping an eye on some of these. We're probably never going to get Portugal. In fact, I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to just stop even trying on Portugal. But we should be able to keep Sweden. And I'm going to let Egypt fall off because they're still uncivilized and I don't think they produce all that much. They have a decent amount of cotton, but heck, if they they might be worth conquering. On the other hand, I have plenty of influence to spare, so I'll toss 1 pip on there. Why not? And so many bureaucrats here in Shandong, but we are getting closer and closer to that 1%. Another state has had a factory close. Where is that state? Alright, going to close down that one. We don't need the artillery at the moment, apparently. And I'm okay with that. And let's see. I'm going to actually encourage capitalists in a couple of these states, pulling the clerks out of Kanto. And yeah. Well, let's see. This one's worth encouraging capitalists. And heck, we'll put in some more in Kyushu too. Not that we necessarily need more capitalists to build things, but they're very useful for increasing the efficiency of factories, and so are worth focusing on at least a little bit. And tax rates have gone up, or tax efficiency rates anyways. I'm going to drop the taxes. Never mind. I'll leave the taxes on the rich where they are. If we make money, we make money. It's not the end of the world. In fact, some would even claim it's a positive thing. Another artillery factory is shut down. So I'm going to delete that one. Hopefully some radios will be built in one of these here pretty soon. That certainly wouldn't be a bad thing. Another factory, small arms. I'm going to close that one down. But I am going to subsidize the one in Suzhou. Bribing officials. Egyptians in Alexandria have... Yeah, let's go with bribes. 20 whole pounds we can afford. And I'm going to decrease the opinion of Russia and Sweden. I want to keep Sweden as part of the Japanese sphere of influence. All the tea in Japan. I'll let the farmers keep some. Why not? A little bit lower militancy never hurts. I was just checking on the taxes there to make sure none of them are too high and thus angering the population, but they don't seem to be anyways. Yeah, I might end up getting this state instead of perhaps a more valuable Southern Anhui, because the extra state that I can build naval bases in is worth at least as much or more than the difference in industrialization, I imagine. And upper house shifts only ever so slightly once again. There we go, naval base finished here in Suzhou. So we're going to immediately try to upgrade it again. Let's see. For an extra 5 dreadnoughts and 10 cruisers, it would take 200 plus 300, so 500 more. 500 more supply, naval supply, and we almost have that, so I'm going to go ahead and start building those. Let's see, where are the other 2 fleets? There's one, there's another. So I'm going to move this fleet over here to eastern China. That way it will be ready to support the other fleet. I'm going to move them around in groups of 30. In fact, heck, I'm just going to go ahead and combine some of these fleets. If I need to, for blockade purposes, I can break them up later. But that way I don't have to worry. As had been mentioned, the new naval battles, or has been mentioned in comments, I should say, the new naval battles really put an emphasis on outnumbering so that you can focus 2-on-1 or something like that. So having a decent sized fleet probably more important than having numerous fleets at this point. But anyways, time to build another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dreadnoughts. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cruisers. And I'm somewhat surprised that we can only build dreadnoughts in a few places. Maybe it's you can only build them in core states. That would make sense. considering how valuable dreadnoughts are, and that would limit the number of dreadnoughts that can be built at any one time. We have some more some more leadership, so I'm going to create a general and an admiral. And we will exceed the supply limit by quite a lot. But it should only be, I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Worst case scenario, if all of the ships run at a little bit under max supply for a short amount of time, it would not be the end of the world. I'm going to go ahead and start subsidizing everything again. I think the economy's shaken out as well as it should. And we're not spending basically anything on subsidies now, so it would appear that things have shaken out fine. Some country goes bankrupt. I think that's one's in India. It's not really that important, though. And someone has surpassed us in military power. Who would that be? The UK. Probably from all the dreadnoughts it can build, because it has so many core states with massive naval bases. Those stupid Brits. I really wish we would get some more core. Well, actually, I guess that's just how fast they build dreadnoughts. Back on the why UK's beating us, but I guess they have more states that border the ocean and thus can build more naval bases. But still, that's really obnoxious. I'm betting we could still beat them in a flat-out fight. Oh, that's part of it. They're at war, too, which increases the spending and thus the value of soldiers and army. So maybe we shouldn't worry yet. They have far fewer brigades than us, after all. Tractors have shown up in the Gilbert Islands, which, where are the Gilbert Islands? Ah, that's our area in Kiribati, which needs to upgrade their naval base as well. I'd completely forgotten about that area. We have these navies together, so let's see if we don't have a better admiral. Ooh, I like this one. He'll be the leader of the first fleet. Third fleet, yeah, third fleet's okay. 2 and 2 is pretty good. And tax efficiency just went up. It means we can, in fact, decrease taxes on, not on the poor, on the wealthy, though. And then we'll be able to decrease on middle class pretty easily as well. Ooh, a lockout. I can either take consciousness and militancy or socialists. I'll take the consciousness and militancy for the rich. They're doing pretty well anyways. And we're closing in on that 15 mark for infamy. At which point we will open up our, well, we will open up another war against the Chinese, which I imagine, if history is to be our teacher, will be one-sided and very painful for them. And electric furnace is now done. So which to choose next? We could do social science, try and get our literacy up a little faster. Naval risk management or logistics wouldn't be a terrible idea, but aren't really necessary. All of the economic thought and critique inventions all of these technologies aren't particularly good. No, that one's not very good. I guess I'll go with management strategy. Or, no, I'll just do shift work. Extra throughput tech and RGO, nothing fancy, but still quite useful. That'll be done mid-1913, which will give us just enough time to finish up another easier technology before we switch over to 1914 techs, of which aeronautics is one. That may actually be the only one that's 1914. No, modern naval doctrine as well, which will be good to be able to expand our navy even further. We're not up there for any of those. All of these are already available. And so, yeah, pretty much just those two, 1914. But that's okay. At this rate, we very well may complete the entire tech tree before the end of the game. Looks like we have surpassed the UK again in military power. Although by just a very little bit. And Russia is still trying to influence Sweden, so I'm going to drop the opinion even further. Let's see. Our imports are liquor, regular clothes, and furniture. Let's see if there are any that we could influence for any of those. Gangxi might be worth picking up in our sphere for liquor. Regular clothes, Sweden, we're already there. And furniture. So let's... Which one of these is Gangxi? Nope. Not going to gain anything because their population is so much larger than ours. Or at least so large. I don't know if it's relative to ours. And infamy keeps on ticking off. We're losing a little bit of money, but I'm okay with that for now. Another state gets mechanized mining. And let's attend the 5th Olympic Games. Why not? We are still head and shoulders above anybody else right now. But we should be able to extend this gap even further. Oh, and we have a unit of cavalry that just tried to rebel here in the 5th Army. So, going to build up another unit. Let's see, yeah, they were dragoons. So, dragoons. Well, cuirassiers are no longer worth anything. So, yeah, we'll build another unit of dragoons. And then send them up to reinforce. It's annoying when just one unit breaks away. I mean, it's annoying when any amount of units break away, but especially when it's just the one. And we finish up the 4th Fleet. Yeah, I don't know what they were saying, but we did not break our naval port supply limit by 500, only by 54 right now. And once some more of these finish, it will be even less. So I'm going to combine that with the 3rd Fleet. And that naval base is fully expanded already. Oof. I'm going to let the consciousness come from this newspaper rather than the militancy, because 4 militancy for all those poor strata is a lot. Upper house rearranges again, just ever so slightly. Reactionary rebel organization has increased, which is a little annoying, but again, not a big deal. But we can, however, enact a new reform. Which one do we want to do? Let's see which one the people want. It's 4.2% want weighted wealth. Almost 3% for censored press. So weighted wealth it is. Which will probably make it so we can never... Actually, I'm going to do censored press first, because weighted wealth will definitely make it so that we'll never get another reform through. As the voters' ideology is much higher than the overall people's ideology. Let's see. Oof, we're losing a lot of people every month, but we're also gaining 50,000 in population growth, so I guess that's okay. A lot are going to Haiti. I wonder how big Haiti is now. Decently large. And I'm going to choose push for laissez-faire on this event. Yeah, Haiti's not that big, but... Oh, well, okay. It's a lot bigger than it started anyways. And surely we're close in Shandong to being able to convert it to a state. 99%. Almost there. Let's check in on these rebels. Not all too many. The million in China would be annoying, as would communists or Jacobeans, but none of them are big enough to really be threatening. Suffrage movement's pretty large, but if we can make it happen, I'd be happy to enact more reforms. And another rebellion here in Hawaii. That's why we keep these 6,000 troops here to hold it. A crisis in Poland. Let's see. Against Russia, whose allies are the UK and Italy. Yeah, I'll back it. Or at least declare interest. There we go. Our military is so much stronger than theirs. However, France, Prussia, and the Netherlands are looking like they will be joining Russia. So it may end up that I will lose a little bit of prestige for trying. But I can afford a little bit of prestige. Jeez. Nobody's interested in joining me at all. What if I offered something to France? Nope. Alright, well, then I might be forced to take a white piece. But it would not be the end of the world. Just a bit of a miscalculation on my side. Looking at the newspaper, Sherlock Holmes' ending caused some controversy. I won't spoil it in case anyone here hasn't read it, but they're very good books and worth reading. More importantly, Shandong is now available to be turned into a state. So let's switch this over to capitalists and convert it into a state. Hooray! And our literacy doesn't drop by very much. That's very good. I wonder how long it will take for projects in Shandong to begin. Civil violence in Sinai, going to intervene immediately. And they're still, and Prussia's still on the side of Russia. I will just accept the white piece, lose 140 prestige. It's not the end of the world. Farming, or a general store, which increases farming efficiency, has shown up in another state. Ooh, that was more like 250. That did hurt a little bit, but it's what happens when you make mistakes, I suppose. And it wasn't worth fighting for Poland's freedom. And I'm still looking at the list. I'm still 600 ahead of anybody else. And still the most prestigious country in the world. So I suppose I won't worry about it too much. I'm going to check back in, see how these naval bases are doing. And Tonga's expanding. Both of those are still expanding. And Wake's still expanding. So let's see. That one's done. I think pretty much all of these are good. Midway Island is now a core. Well, that's nice at least. Culture Kampf. I will just accept the biding our time on this one. Militancy is not as valuable as consciousness. The militancy did go up because we accepted peace in that crisis. That's annoying. The Dragoons have finished, so I'm going to send them on over to Datong. And we're back at about 15 infamy. So, going to give it a couple more months, and then I guess at the start of next year, we will begin to begin justifying that war. Looking at the newspaper, crisis averted, and information about the continental drifts, or continental drift, I suppose, not plural, but that's all that was noteworthy. And we've broken the 10% mark on a couple of these, or on Kyushu, so I'm going to remove that one. And in Chugaku, however you pronounce that, Chigaku Shikoku, so going to remove that one as well. And instead going to focus on clerks in my two largest states. Shift work just finished. So what to choose next? Social science will take us just into early 1914, so I'll go with that one. And heck, no time like the present. Let's start justifying a war here for acquire state against China. Commercial retailers have shown up in another state. Hopefully, we will be found out late enough that we don't break over the 25 infamy cap, because UK will probably declare war, which we can beat them, but it's just such a pain. And Japanese reactionaries have risen all over the home islands and Korea, so I'm going to turn on Hunt Rebels. That should be it. Oh, and in Brunei. So it looks like somebody's going on a little trip to Brunei. Congratulations, Third Army. You win the lottery. You're going to the tropical island of Brunei. And all of these rebels should be pretty easy to beat. Oh, that's the wrong fleet. Huh. Whoops. This fleet's the one we need to move. My bad. Yeah, just finding each of these rebels, putting them down very quickly. The reactionaries have no chance of actually winning. Alright, transports, come on over. There we go. So we're going to send the Third Army here to clear out the enemy. And worst case scenario, if we do get some more infamy found out, we will just flip over or we will turn around and release one of our pretty meaningless provinces like Brunei as a dominion and drop back down under the limit. So it shouldn't be an issue regardless. There we go. Wiped out the enemy here. So back to mainland China with you. This was just a brief stop to kill some rebels. More civil violence in one of our colonial provinces. I'm going to choose the same option I've chosen every single time so far. And sending the transports back to the home islands. And the rebellion has been crushed. That was quick and easy. The talkies have just been invented, which lowers suppression efficiency a little bit and gives us ever so slight amount of prestige. Hooray. Looking at the newspaper, the Titanic went down. Rest in peace. And the stock market crashed in Switzerland. Those are both very unfortunate. People lost their livelihoods in more than one way. And nobody's really able to contest any of these spherelings that we have. I'm going to switch from capitalist, since it's at 0.08 now, back to craftsman in southern Zahili. And in Hokkaido, which is pretty small anyways, just going to remove that one. And move it to clerks in Kanto. War justification's going along nicely. Heck, maybe we'll have a very low amount of infamy gained, in which case we can turn around and take another state. Oh, decreasing the acquisition speed, which hurts our odds. But that's okay. And tractors have shown up in another state. Always nice. Increasing our income slightly. Which industrial subsidies are still very low, which is very, very nice. It means our economy is running quite smoothly. And I'm going to stop there for today. We didn't have a whole lot of action in this episode, but we expanded our navies and combined them, and are readying for another war against China. This one probably even bloodier than the last, since now we have gas and our armies have tanks, and so we should have no problem in taking another multi-million population state. So thanks for watching, and check back soon for more Victoria 2, Heart of Darkness.